Hello, this is the Tryline Podcast. I'm your host, Bo. This is my co-host, Danny.
Hey mate, what's going on?
Not a lot. We talk about rugby league. What are we talking about this week?
This week, before we get into any of the Origin news or games, we're going to talk about Josh Mansour being told that he's not a part of Penrith's plans from next season onwards. Um, so he's still got a year left on his contract, but Penrith have come out and said that Charlie Staines will be playing on that left wing, and if he wants to stay at Penrith, he's going to have to play in reserve grade, which is which is
Like a suicide kind of mission. You're not going to get back
yeah.
into first grade after that, especially at his age.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's just a dog act. And after telling him about it uh, in a cafe just
Yeah.
after they've lost the grand final at the end of the season, I think I think it's just a dog move. After he stayed at the club for so long and said that he'll take less money just to stay at the club,
Yeah.
they've come out and told him that he's going to be playing reserve grade next year if he decides to stay.
Yeah. Personally, I just don't like the timing of it. I understand that it's a business and things happen. People get moved on all the time, but the timing of it, it's a few days after the grand final. Um, they had all year. They re-signed Charlie Staines in the middle of the year, so they knew what their plans were all year. So let him know, let him go find another club. But to just drop it on him after the grand final at the end of the year, I think he said in the interview that his wife was stressing out a little bit about it, like not knowing what he's going to be able to do, not knowing if he's going to have an income next year. So that's that's pretty pathetic. I thought it was very very poor for a guy that's given up a lot of years, like you said, taken less money. Um, I think it's low.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, we're going to get straight into Origin Game 1.
What game was it? Game one. Okay, what happened in game one?
Queensland defeated New South Wales 18-14. If you're living under a rock, it's been everywhere.
Yeah,
Queensland, or the worst Queensland team apparently
yeah,
ever.
yeah. Well,
Beat New South Wales.
even the worst Queensland team gets it done then. Oh, it feels good. Jeez, does it feel good? Hallelujah.
You make me sick. Anyway, New South Wales. We'll just get into the game, mate. New South Wales, disappointing, very disappointing. They started off the game all right, apart from the kickoff. I guess that's how the whole game went,
Yeah,
really. You
story
can
of the
tell the
half.
whole game by watching the first 5 seconds. New South Wales just were doing okay to start with, as I said, but except for the kickoff. They defended a few back-to-back sets on their own goal line, and then they were only in Queensland's 20-metre zone, and they scored a couple of tries. So
Yeah,
I thought things were looking good in the
yeah,
first 20 minutes.
yeah. I thought Queensland come out early and they looked strong, especially on the back of the drop kickoff. Like they had a good amount of ball early. They did look a little lost. You got to remember a lot of their players hadn't played for a long time because a lot of the players in the team weren't actually in the semi-final series. Like you have Philip Semi, you have AJ Brimson, Cherry Evans. They all didn't play in the semi, so they had a couple of players there that hadn't played in a few weeks, and it showed early. They definitely lacked a little bit of polish there. Um, New South Wales though, the defense was awesome. They didn't look flustered once. I thought they defended a lot of back-to-back sets, and I thought they didn't even look rattled at all. And then Gutherson actually got them out of trouble. He took a good run out of their own end, and they marched up the field. And I think Cook scored on the end of that, and then Addo Carr scored a pretty simple try in the corner. So they were looking good. But then cue the second half. Cue the second half. Now, Cleary, in the first set of the second half, New South Wales marched downfield. I think they get to about the 35-metre line of Queensland. Cleary knocks it on. And that's the last tackle. He knocks it on. From then until about 8 minutes to go, it was all Queensland. They were absolutely perfect. Like, Catewell beats Gutherson one-on-one, puts Brimson away. Catewell had just a crazy debut. I thought he was awesome. I thought he was the best player on the park. Um, and then Gutherson, and then Gagai, he hits different in Origin, doesn't he? He's unbelievable when he puts that Queensland jersey on. He beat White and Cold and put Coates away. So that was a especially great 20 minutes after half time.
No. Well, not if you're a New South Wales fan.
Yeah,
Um, Yeah, I was going to say it was about the 60th minute I was watching, and I was thinking that Queensland might actually win.
Yeah,
That's when it kind of sunk in around the 60th minute. I think they scored around the 65th minute, their last try. But yeah, as you said, New South Wales came out in the second half, and I think they expected Queensland to roll over.
yeah, they did. Yeah,
Yeah, but because you saw them, they weren't really doing much with their sets. They were just taking hit ups, and then kicking, just completing their sets really.
yeah.
But even that they couldn't really do. They were completing at a low rate. A lot of errors in the game.
I thought
Um,
I thought one of the biggest red flags for New South Wales was when they did get behind, they did only just do what you said. They were only worried about completing. They didn't try a thing, and I think that's what condemned the halves. I thought one of them was definitely going to get dropped because not once did they take it on themselves to maybe have a shot inside their own half or maybe try something, kick early, get on the back of it. Like they were going bang 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 up the middle and waiting for Queensland to roll over, like you said, and it wasn't happening. They scored and got their tails up and they really took over the game.
yeah, definitely. I mean, you look at these two teams on paper, and New South Wales is
Yeah.
about a million times better than Queensland. But as the old saying goes, Queensland just wanted it more.
Yeah, and they played more as a team. I thought individually New South Wales had some good players. I want to knock the head. I want to knock it on the head right now. The criticism of Gutherson. I thought he was one of New South Wales' best. He made like 35 tackles, missed two tackles. One of them happened to lead to a try. Like, and he had two try assists. So cut him some slack. All right. I thought he's very good. I knew. Well, I said in the preview that they should target the centres because they're out of position. But to say it's Clint Gutherson's fault that they lost is totally wrong. I think he deserves to be there. I think he's earned he's right in the for another week in the Origin jersey. I do think Whiten, on the other hand, he needs to be closer to the ball. If he's not 5'8", I don't see a spot for him in the starting side.
Mm. I mean, well, he did a good job last year in the centres, but I can't really remember off the top of my head why he played so well. Maybe it's because he was getting more involved
Yeah,
in the game. Not sure.
I thought he just didn't look like he got enough ball. I think him and Tupou didn't play very well together. I think he's got to get close to the ball. He's got to get his hands on the ball. His biggest asset is his ball running. We all know that. He
Yeah,
needs to get his hands on the ball more. So thoughts on Cleary getting dropped?
on Kiri.
Yeah, Kiri. Yeah, well, yeah, Kiri. It was going to be one of them,
Yeah,
and they didn't take in a natural halfback, so I thought it lent towards Cleary.
yeah. Well, I mean, I picked a side that had Kiri 18th man, Cody Walker to start at the six. I just think, uh, I wouldn't say he's a better player. You know what? I just think that he had a like better back end to the season than Kiri, and I just think that he's in form. Give him first crack. I think.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you did pick that before game one. All right, some Origin injury news for Queensland. This was a little bit disappointing. I thought Brimson was very, very good on debut. I thought he done exactly what you have to do. A lot of energy, backed up the ball. He's out for the rest of the series with a foot injury, so that's just a huge loss for him, especially being the Origin fullback. It's going to be hard for him to get there. He's probably third in line to get back there. So I felt really bad for him. Christian Welsh, I thought he was good as well. He's out with a concussion.
Yeah.
Um, Kurt Catewell went off with a hamstring injury that he took into the game. He's 50-50 to play in game two.
Yeah, it would be a big loss if you lost Capel. You saw
Yep,
the game that he played for game one.
yep.
Um, and that's all the injury news from Queensland,
That's
is it?
it. That's it for the brothers.
For the Brothers. Okay. Anyway, on to the important news, the real
He's
news.
going to run out this week.
Yeah, okay. So there's been a bit of a scare for Stephen Crichton. He's tweaked his hammy in training yesterday, so he will not be available to play. He was named in the reserves, so he won't be available anymore. They've brought Zach Lomax in. Um, but yeah, Crichton should be right to go for next week. He should be in the reserves next week. Cam Murray's been ruled out of the series, suffering a hamstring injury.
Huge loss.
Yeah, huge loss. Um, So he's out for the rest of the series. You saw, I think it was his first run of the game, first touch of the ball. Something happened. I don't know what.
Unfortunate, yeah. Yeah, I think he got
Yeah,
twisted up in
and
a tackle a little bit.
yeah. And on to the biggest news. Boyd Cordner, pardon me, he's been ruled out for the rest of the series due to a head knock.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good for him personally. He's had a fair few throughout the year, and considering what happened to his cousin earlier, poor bloke.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's scary for him. They like there was a report going around today that he might have to sit out for 6 to 12 months. Um, that's just that's his career, isn't it? Like if he sits out for 6 to 12 months in the NRL, the way the game is now, I don't think he can come back from that. Personally, I think it's only fresh. It only happened on the weekend. He's had not only a long year, he's had a long 3 years. They went back to back and then to a prelim. The one before a prelim, I think. It's been a long year, a long few years. He plays very hard. He takes that one
mm,
run. He takes it. He runs hard as he can. Even when he got back on after the head knock, I think he got him out of trouble with a couple of big runs.
yeah,
I think he needs to just rest, get healthy, spend some time with the family, and then like the Roosters are the standard in the NRL for concussion. Like they do it better than anyone. I think Cleary sat out. Cleary, I mean Cleary. No, Cleary. Yeah, Cleary.
yeah, Kiri, yeah,
Cleary
Kiri.
sat
Oh,
out.
mate.
Cleary sat out 6 weeks last year. Boyd Cordner sat out close to 6 weeks this year already with concussion. So they do it better than anyone. Take their advice and make a decision from there. I don't think we should be making a decision for him. It's his own health. It's his own life. I think he should make a
Yeah,
decision. All
yeah,
right.
definitely. I mean, something similar happened. Sorry, a couple of
Yep.
years ago with there's a back rower that played for the Tigers, Liam Fulton.
Yep.
He had to retire early due to um, too many head knocks. So, I mean, if he decides to do it, yeah,
Yeah, I've
good on
seen
him.
I've seen a lot around people saying, "Oh, he should retire. He shouldn't come on. He shouldn't do this." It's not our decision. It's his decision. I know New
Yeah,
South Wales have one of the best doctors on hand, concussion doctors in Australia for this kind of thing. So he's an expert. We shouldn't be questioning his integrity. I don't think. Anyway, enough about that. I wish him all the best. He's had a long few years. That man. Let's go. The winning game two team list. This is the Queensland team list. They'll be wrapping up the series in Sydney shortly. At fullback,
no,
Holmes comes back from suspension. He's a big in. Like I said, I think they lacked a little bit of polish in the first half. Queensland, he brings that. He is great on the end of those block shifts. Xavier Coates and Philip Semi are on the wings. Kurt Capewell and Dane Gagai are in the centres. Now, if Capewell does succumb to the injury, the word is Philip Semi will go to centre, and Edric Lee will come on the wing. So that'll be interesting there. The halves are Munster and Daly Terry Evans. Munster on the back of a 5-day bender scores the game winning try. So what a legend. In
he
the
didn't have
front,
to do anything.
yeah.
Just had to pick up a ball and run
Oh,
20 meters.
no one else done it. I didn't see any New South Wales players do that. So go the boys. Dynamis Louis and Josh Rapali, Canberra teammates, they'll be in the front row. Felice Kafusi, Jaden Suar, and Tino Fasuamalawi, every time I
Oh,
butcher that, are in the back row. Ben Hunt, I give Ben Hunt a lot of crap. I don't like him in the halves too much. He was awesome the other night. I thought he was the key in the second half. I thought his offloads and he just back it up around the ball. I thought he's very, very good. He'll be in the 14 again. Ben Hunt, the one thing I'd say, just stay at hooker, mate. You're a hooker. He's a gun hooker. I reckon he's one of the better hookers going around, so he needs to stay there. Lindsay Collins, Jai Arrow, and Mo Fodawaker will make his debut there on the bench. I think it's a very strong team. I like this team a little bit more than the team from game one.
it's a better team than game one. Still shit, but it's a better team. Anyway, we'll get it. We'll go first the worst, second the best. So on to team number two.
All right.
Fullback James Tedesco. That's the old saying, mate.
I can't wait till next week. I can't wait till you got to walk in here after being down 2-0 and on the verge of a clean sweep. I can't wait.
Mate, if New South Wales go down 2-0, you won't see me again.
All right.
Anyway, the wingers, we got Daniel Tupou and the Fox, with the centres being King Gutho and Jack White, and so none of that changed. One of the changes, we got Cody Walker coming to 6 and Nathan Cleary at 7. The props, Daniel Saifidi and Payne Haas. Junior Paulo goes to the bench. Payne Haas moving to the starting side. Damien Cook in at hooker. Angus Crichton, Tyson Frizzell, the back rowers, and Jack Jurovic at lock. The bench, we've got Dale Finucane, Junior Paulo, Nathan Brown, and Isaiah Yeo. So Dale Finucane, he's coming in for Luke Keary, who's been named 18th man. Cody Walker in the starting side. Boyd Cordner, Cam Murray, both out. We spoke about that earlier.
Yeah.
They're being replaced by Nathan Brown and Isaiah Yeo. So
I've got 2 questions for you out of the New South Wales team.
How much are we winning by?
Yeah, no, please. Thoughts on no utility on the bench?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, if anything does go wrong in the halves, if Cleary gets injured, you push Cody Walker to the 7, and I think Jack Watton to the 6.
Yeah.
And then you can have maybe Angus Crichton move into the centres, something like that. Even as he played on the edge earlier on in his career. So
I think almost every team in the last 12 months have run a utility on the bench just because of the rule change with the 6 again. I think it's been pretty standard. So I just thought that was pretty interesting not to have a utility there. And the other question I had for you was Paulo on the bench.
I don't know about that. I thought he had a really good first stint in game 1, and then when he came on late in the second, or for his second stint, he played really well again. But I understand you got Payne Haas there. He can play big minutes.
Do you expect him to play 80?
I don't think he'll play 80, no way. No. But I mean, I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past him, but I don't think he will. Because you can't have... You look at the bench, and it's really all middle forwards.
See, on game 1, we both spoke about it. We both liked New South Wales bench a lot better. We thought that was the key. This week, I like Queensland's bench better.
Who is Queensland's bench again? Sorry.
So we have Ben Hunt, Lindsay Collins, Jai Arrow, and Mo Fodawaker. I like that bench a little bit better. I think they're a bit more mobile, especially with Jai Arrow, Ben Hunt, and Mo there, and Lindsay Collins. I thought he played good the other day. So I just don't like. And that's what we'll get into how we see the game going. I do see New South Wales winning. I think their backs against the wall. I would love to see Whiten get closer to the ball, but I do see them winning. The one way I can see Queensland winning is through their bench, because no 14, so they've gone no utility pretty much. In the modern game with the 6 again, it's so important. You've seen Ben Hunt get on the other night. I thought he changed the game. And when Cody Walker got on the other night, and they bring him back on in the second half, I thought he was the key. I thought he was the key to their attack. I think it's important to have another ball player, another option there, and I think that's a big missed opportunity for New South Wales. The way I see New South Wales playing, though, I see them playing through the middle of Queensland, and I see them getting, especially when Paulo gets on offloads. I think Teddy's just going to be hanging around him, and if the game goes how I think they will, they'll carve up Queensland through the middle.
Right, so you keep Cleary at number 6 and keep Walker on the bench?
I would go Whiten at 6. I would have dropped Cleary.
I
would have dropped Cleary, and I would have kept Cody Walker on the bench. And I would have brought in Crichton. I would have brought in Crichton, but he's injured. That would have been my team.
So you would have brought in... Well, just now, say you're the coach, before you pick the team, you'd have Zach Lomax in the centres? Because Crichton's out.
Yeah. So that's tough. I don't like Zach Lomax in the side, not yet. I would have went Crichton in the side. Right now, the team's probably as good as it's gonna get. I would have had McInnes in the team.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Anyway, enough about the team.
How do you see it going?
It's hard to say, mate. I can see New South Wales coming out and kind of like blitzing Queensland. So they'll come out early and try and put on as many points as they can. But considering what happens in game 1, that's what I thought would happen in game 1. So I can't be sure of anything. Yeah. You can't be sure of anything these days. So Yeah, I'm definitely not counting Queensland out,
No.
but my money would be on New South Wales. I think it will be a close game, to be honest. Going off what we did see in game one, they've got a better team now, I reckon.
Mm.
So I'm going to say 2014 to Queensland.
Okay, that's and man of the match off the top of your head.
Teddy.
Yeah, I've actually got New South Wales 28-10, and
Oh,
I've got majority of those points coming in the first half for New South Wales. I do have them coming out and just really putting them to them. I think because I thought Queensland, that team anyway, played their best game on Monday, last Wednesday. I
yep.
think New South Wales didn't even get out of fourth gear, especially in that second half. I think they can be better for the run. One more thing before we wrap up here. The halves that they've got now, Cody Walker and Cleary. I
Mm-hmm.
want to just mention these two blokes have not yet to prove themselves in a big game. Huge test for them here. You've got Walker. He got the start last year in game one. He was hooked after 60 minutes. Not good. And then he probably had a chance in a prelim this year, being one of the informed players of the comp, and couldn't get it done. And you got Cleary, who you could say, not Cleary, Kiri.
Yes,
Cleary.
Cleary.
Jeez, I've been stuffing that up all day. You got Nathan. He probably got helped out a lot by Luai this year, I thought, throughout the final
Mm.
series. I think he did score a hat trick against the Roosters, but a lot of that was on the back of Luai again. I think this is a big test for both of them. They've got to stand up, especially Nathan.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I hope Cody Walker can come out and you know play a really good game. Like he was in such good form
Yeah.
leading into the finals, and I think he did have a disappointing game against Penrith that knocked him out. But I think maybe if he kicks back into gear, I think they can.
I hope he does. I think he's a really good player, and this is probably his shot at the six jersey.
Yep.
If he can lock it down, and if he can play well tonight, well then it's his for a couple of years. You know what I mean? So if he can just perform on Saturday, if those two fail to fire, then there's huge questions over Nathan, especially because last year in the Origin series he was safe without being great. This year he was the best player all year, and then in the final series, especially in that grand final in the first half, and I didn't think his kicking game was great the other night either, especially early. So
Mm.
he has his doubters out there. All right, I'm going to be back here Thursday. I'll do a solo review. Denny, he only likes to do every third one nowadays. no, no, and he'll be back next week with his tail between his legs. Go Queensland, 3-0, baby.